now we played better when we did this or we did this. Even have that sort of thing, the mentality of we've already played them once in the tournament. We know what we did wrong, which I imagine with someone like Zeus at the helm, he is going to know what they did wrong, and I'm damn sure he's going to tell them what they did wrong as well to try and make sure they can fix things here. So I do think that, for me at least, I think Ukraine definitely have. I think they are going to be the ones to take this. I do, however, think it should go to 3 maps, and I think it'll be very, very close because both teams have performed very, very well throughout this tournament, and both have done better than I have to admit, I've done better than I thought they would.
Yeah, because then we kind of look at Team Ukraine, right? We've broken down GODSENT and their run throughout this. They didn't have the luxury of going flawless in their groups. But, then they go on to face Big in a best of 3. They end up winning that out. I think they go flawless. I think they win that 2-0. And then versus, the local team, they managed to win that. So knock out both of those guys, head on through into the semi-finals where they win over Fnatic.
You have to remember as well, Wallolos were in the group stage, the team that actually finished top in, I think it was the group with Big and Space Soldiers. Like,
yeah.
They had a very tough group to get out of, and they were one of the teams that I was like, okay, maybe they'll scrape through in 3rd, wasn't too sure what to expect, and they were playing really, really well. So that wasn't an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, then going and facing off against Fnatic, again, after Virtus Pro got eliminated, they were, alongside Space Soldiers, probably one of the favorites. Ended up obviously playing them just earlier in the day in a very, very close series, which went 16-14 in the 3rd and final map. So it really did show how much of a head-to-head that could have been. And, well, it looks like we are going to get ourselves into the veto. Straight out of there will be Nuke and Mirage. It's going to be one of the first maps, and I don't think that that's going to be too much of a problem for Ukraine at all. I think they'll be quite happy with that coming up as their opponent's map pick. I'll be interested to see what they choose. Now, I think that Cobble could be one of them, but they're actually going to go for Overpass, maybe expecting GODSENT to leave Cobble in. I'm actually going to take it out next. And I actually think that might be quite a good decision because, as said, I think that's a very strong map for Bondik. Simple. Actually was fairly quiet when we saw them on Cobblestone. I think that was the only map that he didn't really step up too much on. And we are actually going to end up on Inferno in the end. So not a bad map pool. I'm looking forward to seeing what will come about. Simple on Overpass was utterly ridiculous the first time we saw him. And actually, that was a very strong map for Edward as well.
Yeah, I think even when you look at Mirage, right, that's one that still works well for this Ukrainian roster. A lot of individual talent in amongst it, so that's always going to come in handy on the more Pug-style map.
Yeah.
I think, if this heads through the 3 maps, then things do get very interesting on Inferno.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Inferno might be one of the tougher maps for the Team Ukraine. Of course, we're saying mixed team in a sort of loose sense because, of course, a lot of these guys have... Well, I'm pretty sure all of these guys have played together at some point in the past. The sort of CIS scene, you have teams constantly interchanging. So the majority of these players will know roughly what they're doing. It's just sort of more the sort of spots role and who's going to be taking those more aggressive peaks. Of course, Simple normally seems to get first choice with a lot of those. But I think the interesting thing for me with this team is that Edward has been taking more of a sort of almost star sort of player role, which I've really liked to see. Like, if you talk about Overpass as a specific map, we saw on the sort of Banana Control where he would actually push very aggressively, take the first fight most of the time. The same thing could be said where he was either lurking or entry fragging on the other side of the map, and it's actually looked pretty good. And I said it sort of either yesterday or the day before that I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Zeus was sitting here just looking at not only this team but Team Russia and going, okay, I've got quite a lot of my players here. Maybe I could utilize them in a different way in Na'Vi, because of course they have been having problems in Na'Vi as of recent. They have recently brought in Electronic as well, which I do think could be a changing factor, although he definitely didn't have the best tournament. I think there's a lot more to come from him, but I do wonder if Zeus is going to say, okay, you know what, maybe there is something more that I can do with the components I have.
Well, Tom, we're about to be getting into map number 1 here in the grand finals. Knife round to decide who starts on which side. Simple and Mirage doesn't matter perhaps as much as it would on a less even map. I think you can definitely make a case for this being either T or CT side. That doesn't really matter. Very much dependent on the team.
I'll be interested to see if they're going to opt to either set the pace. Of course, we know that Ukraine will be playing the very sort of slow, methodical Zeus style. That was made clear very early on in the tournament that although it may not necessarily be Na'Vi, they are still going to take a lot of their components from that team. We saw a lot of very late executes, which could actually work out quite well for GODSENT. I do still remember the sort of Pronax GODSENT did almost identical things, and I think it was very infuriating with that team, in fact, because they did normally miss, or not normally, but quite often miss the timings on a lot of those pushes. Of course, I feel like this team is a much more sort of individualistic team. As said, when it comes to sort of an in-game leader or somebody who is going to be making those calls, I think that's where they could fall a little bit flat because they don't have that sort of strong component of someone like Zeus who is just going to take the lead. And you can hear him if you are sat out there when he gets vocal. He definitely gets vocal. You may even be able to hear him over us a lot of the time because he is just that much sort of in the game and sort of controlling his team. So I will be very interested to see if there is going to be anything of the sort on GODSENT if things do begin to go a little bit wrong.
Yeah, just gonna be waiting for this to get underway. So, Tom, you know, if you're GODSENT, of course, coming in this, I think it's fair to say that they could be considered the underdogs, right? I don't think there's...
I actually think it's a fairly close match. I don't think there's necessarily an underdog. I think either of them could take it just hands down. I suppose if you maybe pick apart the components, you could say, okay, like just with the star power of Simple, there is like a chance that, okay, he could just overwhelm them, but well, I'm gonna get cut off because we are going straight into this one. It is our pistol round. We are underway. Markelov, he's going to be taking a bit of a hit to drop a couple of P250s, in fact. I know a lot of people want some double dual Berettas, but this is my favored of the two, and it is going to be Pith waiting on the other side. Two players on this B site, and Zeus looking for that opener.
Yeah, Team Ukraine start to make their way in. Disco Doppelin over here on short tries to put up a bit of a fight, but will we get going down? Freddie B short to follow. It's Hampus 1 versus 3 as Team Ukraine. They have taken full control of this B-bomb site. Hampus, one shot away from going down. Gonna be tricky for him here. Now 1 HP. This round looking good for Team Ukraine. Gonna be able to win that one out. So they pick themselves up the pistol. Of course, the players on stage can be the loudest thing that can be heard.
Yeah, Bondik is getting into this. Got to be careful he doesn't knock his monitor off the stage because he's so unbelievably close to it. I do love how he literally sits with his eyes almost touching the screen. But it is going to be that pistol round going the way of Ukraine. We will see the buy-in actually with 3 rifles, so fairly safe from them and not that much of an investment from the other side. We'll see Disco and Twist saving some cash. Hampus is going to be looking into middle with that Deeg and Simple with his trusty Scout. Able to find anything just yet, and the pot flash will force him back, although Edward has already crossed. Wonder if that will have been spotted by the CT side. I think it has been, because there is a fight going in on window at the moment, and Hampus is going to struggle to get out of there with Edward starting things off. Now, in terms of the CT side setup, they do have a majority of their players over towards that A site. Pistol going to be dropped over, so that we're still an upgraded pistol on every single player on the Swedish side. Aggressive position from Pith, who is going to get blinded, but still manages to take the first kill and also steal away that Galil.
Yeah, Pith allowed to go ahead and get away from that there. It's tag low. Right now, 45 seconds left for Team Ukraine as they start to double back through T-spawn. You can see Zeus looking to try and throw in some utility in towards the B-bomb site, and we'll get their attention. You can see Freddie B goes ahead and leaves CT, and that might provide the window opportunity that Team Ukraine need to secure this A-bomb site. Freddie B, he's the man to try and shut this down. Smokes rain in. Gotta lock him out of the site for the time being. Disco Doppelin in connector. Able to pick that first man up with a D. Does lose his teammate down in CT. Pith still going to be here on 8 HP. Peeks out with the Galil. Finds damage. It's going to go down and Simple. He's the one to finish things off. Team Ukraine. They managed to convert that second round. Now a third should await them.
Yeah, not going to be able to invest too much into this one. I think it's possible that maybe 1 or 2 players could get like a P250 or a Deagle, because they did save some extra cash, but I'm somewhat hoping that that gets implemented into utility instead. And it will be, yeah, just every single penny saved. Disco Doppler could actually go for a secondary AWP, because we know that Twist is likely to want to achieve one. I always like to see this sort of window stack, and it's a lot of damage done by Disco. He'll find 2 quick kills, which will give him a little bit of a boost in economy. Edward actually tagged low as well, so a lot of damage being done at the moment to Team Ukraine. Markelov looking to try and clean things up, but he will go down as well, and it's 4 kills for Edward, but 3 players dropped by what is an investment of 0 for the CT side.
That is damage done, Tom. That's what you want to see on those rounds if you can get it done. Now, Simple going to be breaking out the AWP for Team Ukraine. And interestingly, GODSENT going to go for a double AWP setup here. Disco Doppler and Twist picking that up. Of course, a team where a lot of these players have at some point actually taken up that AWP role.
Or been forced into it.
Despite having 2 AWPs, it's going to be Hampus trying to hold mid with his trusty M4. Disco Doppler now up over on short. Gonna take up the position instead. Edward peeks out first. Gonna start to inch his way out. Disco Doppler eats that nade. Gets tagged down to 40 HP. Hampus is gonna be in connector. Has that crossfire set up with Disco Doppler over on a short angle.
Markelov actually has managed to get quite far forward. Still just seeing the T side just sort of take decent amount of control across the map. A minute left on the clock. Actually, we're going to see some aggression now. Hampus will be able to pick up one, but it's a quick trade. In the meantime, Palace control has been taken from Freddy. They're trying to get as much information as they possibly can, but the fact is, he may just be pushing into his death. The timing as Bondik is now going to turn back around, and Freddy B may be about to get himself a free kill. However, nope, he does get it. And that is going to be 40 seconds left on the clock with a lot of information now for this side. Doppler will now pick one up with the AWP, and the bomb's still yet to be retrieved for the Ts, as they now do have to make their move quickly towards this B site.
Yeah, Markelov and Simple left in this one for Team Ukraine. They've only got 20 seconds. They have to move swiftly here. They're going to start to charge on in. 15 seconds and counting. Disco Doppler misses that shot. That's the opportunity for them to get into this site. Markelov does manage to drop Doppler, and now Pitt tries to stand his ground and does fall short. Bomb's going to go down. I think, yeah, just enough time left for it. Literally comes down to the last millisecond. Twist able to take one more. It falls onto Simple. 1v2.
Hits the leg shot, but it's not going to be enough. Freddy B coming in from behind, the timing not quite there, and the double AWP setup will be saved for another round. Bomb plant will give a little bit of extra money for the T side to play with. Now we're going to see how much they actually have left. Should have been a little bit of extra cash, but you have to remember they do lose 3 players to those USPs in the previous round, and that will be a cost that they will have to incur in this one. Of course, it didn't really affect the previous because of the ability to string 3 rounds together. But it is still going to be a decent buy, actually. Or onto Simple will be glass cannon, so he has to be a little bit more careful. And this time, Twist is looking to try and take that face into middle. Simple yet to really peek further, and Hampus has to be pretty careful here because you don't want to give this man a chance. Smoke goes down. T-side still looking to try and challenge into mid, and Zeus may just push through the underpass. As of yet, it is just sort of a stalemate in mid.
Twist is the man to open up over in middle. No trade in sight. Edward does reside there, but he's unable to start to push on in. And while for Team Ukraine, very accustomed to letting this clock run low. Looks like they ought to be setting up for the B play. All 4 remaining players begin this rotation into a Palmer. It's going to go to join up with a Simple. Smokes rain in. Gonna go down over towards short. Hampers already starts to rotate round, and it's all thanks to the aggression from Freddie B, who's all the way up in T-spawn. These players are here. Disco Doplin's able to open things up. They keep pushing in. Pit does find Markov. Edward and Simple now left to try and stand their ground. Edward 1v4. But Hampus will go ahead and get rid of him. GODSENT, they're able to take themselves a second round there. And with that, they've reset the economy of Team Ukraine.
Yeah, not really much that the Ukrainian side can do in this scenario. Maybe a pistol or two, but not going to get a huge amount of money back into the next round. It will be 2,400, allowing them to at least get the AKs. There won't be an AWP for their side, whereas we know that there will still likely be 2 for the CTs. Aggression coming out into middle. It's looking like Hampus wants to try and pad his stats, but Edward will take his head clean off. That does leave a weapon at the top of mid that can look to be retrieved. There has been a bit of a push out onto short from Twist. It's looking like these orbs may just switch up positions every once in a while, because of course we saw pretty much the reverse just a round or 2 ago. T-side will eventually take over that mid control as it is handed over, and a 2-2 split will remain for GODSENT. Not really. Still, there's not really a whole lot that Ukraine can hope to achieve. They don't have much in terms of weaponry. The aggression from Simple is going to be punished. They do now look to boost into the window. Flashbang will at least slow them down a little bit. Of course, Ukraine more than happy to let this clock tick away. They do have to be careful because a lot of these positions have now been taken. The rotation will be coming back in towards this B site. There is a man a little bit further aggressive in the form of Pith. He has been switching up his position almost every single round, previously down below by the van. So he is going to need to spray down all of these players, otherwise there will be a bomb plant. Rotations, of course, being held by Bondik, and Edward, with the armor, has actually managed to retrieve a rifle. However, he'll quickly be dispatched of another kill for Pith as well, and Markolov now the only one left over towards this site. Bondik sneaks in, steals the AWP, but it doesn't matter because Pith has done his job. 3 kills, and not much time left for Bondik.
Yeah, now he has to decide, does he want to save, does he want to go down? Because if he just sits here, runs the risk of being poached after the time. Players closing in from all sides. Bondik's been spotted. This could destroy the economy, and there you go. Disco Doppling comes in. Last few seconds, and with that, not only is the AWP taken down, Team Ukraine buy here is going to be fairly limited as a result.
And of course, Bondik will now have to be going for a pistol, and the rest of the team, the buy really isn't that bad. AKs across the board, a bit of utility to play with, a smoke on every single player. Of course, GODSENT are now starting to build up some cash of their own. They do lose a player or 2 in the previous round at the hands of Bondik. Smoke is going to fall, and Simple's waiting. Disco has pushed this a couple of times, but likely he will not try to push it again after the shots are rattled off. Hampus as well has been very keen on trying to take this fight into the connector. But again, not going to overface, not taking too many risks in this scenario. Just holding onto the angles and waiting for Team Ukraine to attempt to execute. And that has actually been a bit of a burden for them so far, because they have been burning this clock down, hoping for some level of entry, and it just hasn't been handed to them whatsoever. Hampus now takes up his position in the window, and once again, the T's control seems to be about middle, but there is Hampus. He finally pounces, takes down Edward. They're yet to get rid of this man from the corner. Markolov trying to spray through the wall and does spot the head, but Hampus is just dodging, weaving, and will even take down Bondik instead. A 2-for-1 trade. Further aggression from Freddie B, but he's caught by Zeus. With 45 seconds left, this has turned into a 3v3.
Yeah, but look at this from Pith. This could win the round here and now. Markov doesn't even turn around and check top mid. There you go. The penny drops, so does the bomb. Simple goes down. Now it is just Zeus left, 1v3. The flank from Pith worth its weight in gold. As GODSENT, they're going to go ahead and win out that round. To take it 4-3, you're going to be taking the lead, Tom.
Yeah, they're doing it in a reasonable fashion. Of course, yet to really make up too much money just based off how expensive that double AWP setup can be. Team Ukraine have got the max loss bonus behind them now, so they can afford to invest into some pistols and still get 3,400 in the next round. The question is, are we going to see some sort of setup? By the looks of things, we're no longer looking for mid controls. They do just go running towards this B site. 2 players will be waiting for this rush. Zeus leading the charge. Pith is going to be waiting. Doppelin hits the leg shot, and actually the flames will do the rest of the damage. It will be 1 kill at least, and a bomb plant likely. However, the peek out actually drops the bomb into the sights of Disco Doppelin, making this round even more impossible. Twist will at least allow Markelov to cross, but they've still got to get rid of Disco before anything can be done. Eventually, Bondik will do just that, but as he reloads, Hampus will capitalize, and GODSENT take their 5th in a row.
Right now, GODSENT are looking good on these rifle rounds. Getting the buy coming in once again for Team Ukraine. Decent bit of utility this time. Rifles across the board. Twist going to go ahead and start to take this AWP over in towards middle. Edward will be held back by the Molotov. Edward's gone back to grab the bomb. They keep Markelov and Simple over here at B, but the bomb, along with Zeus and along with Bondik, will reside inside of ramp for the time being. Fake smokes and flash is going to start to soar in towards that B bomb site. Hasn't drawn any rotations out from GODSENT. They keep this very, very patient. Team Ukraine sneaking on in and haven't thrown in any utility. Nothing to telegraph this play. Freddy B peeks into it now, and him and Disco Doppelin, they've done damage. Bombs dropped out in the open. That's all the information that they need. You can see Hampus over in jungle. Going to go and start to try and assist. And Molotov doesn't quite force the man out from under scaffolding. Disco Doppelin's going to go down. Hampus is soon to follow. There's only 27 seconds left here. They have to start to pick up the pace. And now it is just Bondik left. Pitt finishes him off, and GODSENT, they're going to be up 6-3.
T-side actually just looking to try and force the issue now, and we will actually have a pause called. Be able to save any extra money for the next round, so we'll just be either a bomb plant to try and get them all of that extra cash, or we'll just have to try and do it with what they've got at the moment, which is not only going to be either a reduction in AK-47s or in utility, but it has now been 6 rounds in a row for the Swedish side, so they have started to build up a little bit of money on their own. I do believe that it's been kept fairly honest by the Ukrainians, though, because they have been doing damage, dropping players and making things more difficult at least. However, we'll be interested to see if maybe the CT side are going to now opt to swap things up. That is one thing that a lot of teams do. It's actually only going to be Zeus buying an AK in this round, so the rest of the team will save their money. Maybe that means we'll finally get to see Simple's AWP again, which will be a dynamic we haven't seen so much. And here goes Freddy B. This is exactly what I'm talking about. When you see a pause come in, a lot of the times you change your pace, a push into middle, which will actually fall back fairly early. But Freddy B now looking for that push. Bomb actually going to be trying to get its way onto short. It's going to be Simple holding the angle. He knows the Twist is here, but can't quite connect the shots and will actually be dropped. And that's a horrible position for the bomb to be.
It's that aggression from Freddy B up and towards Palace. Bondik doesn't last a second. Zeus, the one man with the rifle. It's going to be a lower tunnel. Hampus finds that frag. Freddy B shuts down Edward. Now it's Markelov 1v5. And while he has got his way out towards apartments, first he has to try and tango with Pitt, who does rely over here on short. Gonna go running his way. And it's a flawless round from GODSENT, 7-3. They're looking good here on the CT side, Tom. As they go ahead and win their 7th in a row. Every single rifle round going their way. Feels like right now this slower style of play from Team Ukraine isn't necessarily working out for them.
Doesn't seem like any style of play is working out for them. Simple's currently on 2 kills, which is definitely not something I expected to see going into this series. Pretty sure it may have been Twist on a similar scoreline though, so it is seemingly the Orpers that aren't able to do too much. Hampus is going to be burnt down early on, but Zeus does get dunked in return. Doesn't take a huge amount of damage. Simple now has had enough of this slower pace and will get an opening kill, but Disco is very quick to trade. Still, Bondic now looking to get out onto the site. It is a 3 versus 3. Has to be careful because Twist is looking to try and peek back in from CT spawn. Bondic making his way right up close. The bomb is now rotating in. Got to be careful. The flashbang is perfect. The spray will do its job. And it looks like the T side now have this round under control, but there is still going to be Freddy B and Disco Doppelin to stand in their way.
Disco Doppelin goes charging in. Edward wants to try and give himself the hat trick. Nade finds damage, and Markelov's there to help out. And Team Ukraine, they managed to get themselves their first rifle round. A 4th round on the board, Tom. As the buy can come back in for GODSENT. Money wasn't really a problem for them after winning 7 in a row. Double also going to be back in play for this CT side. Right now it's Disco Doppelin and Pith bringing up the front for GODSENT. Molotov down to try and hold back the push out from Hampus. Freddy B taking more aggression once again in this round. This time over towards ramp. Has support from Disco Doppelin. This push from Simple, while there is a very lax hold on mid, could be massive.
Freddy B is going to find that opening pick. It's worth mentioning that GODSENT, even though they have won 7 rounds in a row, if they do lose this one, it will be the reset round, and Team Ukraine will be right back in this half. However, that start from Freddy B, as said, he has been one of the standout players for this team throughout the tournament so far. Simple, looking to try and push forward, almost lets his teammate go down. Instead, he'll be the one to fall to Hampus instead. And this Team Ukraine is starting to look a little bit more like the mixed team I was thinking, a bit disjointed at the moment. Disco Doppelin now takes Zeus, and not one of these kills has even had a chance to be traded. And it is almost looking like there'll be a flawless break back here. Markelov will be Molotoved off. Edward does at least stop that from happening by picking up Hampus. But these two now have to go absolutely ham by the looks of things. GODSENT are more than happy to allow them the site. They're just going to play a little bit further back. Edward hoping that somebody will push into his crosshair, but at the moment he can't spot anything out, and there's so many angles left for this T side to clear, and not a whole lot of time to do it. The bomb maybe about to go down towards short. It's the one position which they do have blocked off, and the Molotov is going to deny any further peeks. It's given Ukraine at least a chance in this scenario. However, there's still 4 players for them to deal with.
Markelov goes in and takes things passive over at ramp. Edward gonna start to force his way through. Pitt gonna hold down the fort, and now Markelov, a 1v4 would be required. Holds it down from ramp. It's gonna be in with a second. Disco Doppelin's on the bomb though. There's no time left for Markelov to peek into that, and Pitt will find him at the end. GODSENT gonna be in with their 8th round as they secure that one. Try as he might, Markelov struggles to get that done, and now that money for Team Ukraine has run dry. They need buying up into this round, but they will have to eco in the next if they lose this.
Yeah, well, either team, whoever loses this round is going to have troubles with economy. The one thing that Ukraine did manage to do from that 2v4 was at least take down a couple of extra players, so they will keep GODSENT still with limited economy, and that is based off the cost of this double AWP setup. Simple does have his AWP dropped over by Bondic. Someone who is yet to have that sort of explosive round we're used to seeing from this man. Sneak out again, coming from ramp. Not a whole lot of utility to play with anyway, and Doppelin is going to be peeking around that angle. Has to be pretty careful because they are already so far pushed up. Freddy B takes the charge, and Zeus will be there to open. And Simple now peeks out and takes him down. This could be the round that turns things for Team Ukraine. Hampus, the only man left near the action with so much left to do, and Zeus is leading by advantage as now him and Simple take this round by storm, and Twist is the only man left standing.
Now it's going to be a fifth, and as you said, Tom, that could be the turning point here for Team Ukraine. It was looking fairly one-sided up until now. They've only been able to win 2 rifle rounds. That doesn't mean they can't end this half in a good fashion. An 8-7, still very much possible. They take the AWP out the hands of Twist as he looked to try and save. So now there is nothing here for GODSENT.
I wonder if they'll force this. Yeah. Pith going to be straight in with a deagle. Same for Disco Doppler. The remaining players could realistically buy into the next round, but be a bit of a peculiar one because it means that they are just going to have to come in with pistols, unless, of course, they save an extra round to make sure. Well, of course they can't. There is an extra round. Never mind. But it means that they are going to have a maximum of maybe a UMP or something in the next round, unless, of course, they can do some real damage here with these pistols. We have seen it earlier in the day. However, I would be very surprised. Doppler is going to be looking to just push through the smoke. Try and do something audacious with this deagle, and he will. Edward's going to fall, and that will put an M4 into the hands of Twist. Of course, no Kevlar on anybody at the moment. The B site is currently completely clear. We will now see the rotation coming in. In fact, 3 players now jump onto that B side. With the amount of information that's been gathered by top mid, this is the exact play that GODSENT need to be making, as every single player from this T side will be making their way into the B side. Molotov actually going to block them off a little bit longer, and the smoke going to be thrown down just to try and push through it. Damage being done. Markelov down to just 20 HP, and now Zeus falls into the Molotov. They are starting to look a little bit sketchy here, as now the pistols are doing more and more. Finally, Bondik will rectify this round, but still, it's been very costly indeed.
Yeah, 2 players surviving. If it wasn't for that great name by Markelov at the end there, it could have all gone very wrong. Or the swift 2K from Bondik to get things back under control. It's going to be 8-6. The buy comes in now for GODSENT. The only man who's looking a little bit under the weather right now is going to be Twist. Currently 3 and 8 when you look at the rest of the team. He is paling in comparison just a little bit. This time, GODSENT going to go charging up through mid. They do get shut down. Simple and Zeus, they've snatched an early 2-man advantage. And Edward, he's already shot up through short. Have to be careful here, as Pithy has gone aggressive up and towards apartments. Going to go ahead and flash through. Markelov finds it. Disco Doppler and Hampus, all that remains 2v5. Make that a 1v5.
Yeah, Hampus in a nigh-on impossible situation. Team Ukraine really have turned this half back around and will be going on to the CT side filled with confidence, even still taking things nice and slow. There's only 1 man left, but they want to make sure that they clear out the site before pushing into it. Edward will do just that. Hampus has actually rotated in, but I feel even if he does get the jump on one of these players, there's so much left to do, and the tag that he takes leaves 8 HP. No chance there. Markelov will find his second of the round, and it will be an 8-7, almost just saving position for Ukraine, as they were very far down when that started.
Yeah, I believe that was as far as a 7-3 at one point in time, Tom. You have to look at it that way. It was a massive comeback there from Team Ukraine. Now moving on to their CT side. Can they continue in this fashion looking forward? GODSENT, of course, they've had a massive performance. I'd say, you know, from I hate to say it as well, but almost everyone bar Twist at this point is kind of doing quite well.
Well, he has been fairly quiet, and that's a shame, because earlier in the day he really did step up big.
Exactly.
I think so. It's a little bit worrying to see that he isn't having that same sort of impact. At the same time, we do know that he can be a little bit sporadic, which is a gift and a curse. It means we could see him completely change over the form of this second half and really have big impact. And actually, I'm very excited in turn to see Freddie B, because this is where he really does step up. He is a T-sided player for sure. Entry fragger, not only in this team, but in Epsilon as well. And while watching him over at GFinity, he was hands and above the best player in that tournament. There wasn't even a question about it. So we'll see what he can do over on this T side. In terms of the pistol buy, it is going to be Markelov with a couple of flashes and a kit as well. And then Hampus with the P250 smoke and a flashbang. And straight away, we can see the majority of the players looking to try and head over towards that B side of the map. Whether they actually do follow in that direction is another thing. But just the fact that the smoke and the flash are over towards A does make me wonder if this is going to be a bit of a fake. Of course, they could look to double back down and go through the connector, but taking the bomb through mid seems like a very risky strategy for me.
Well, two players now sneaking out short. Pith gets their attention. Simple's tagged to 9 HP. Players on short do manage to drop him. Pith going to go down in connector. Now the push in a B looks to come through. Edward, though, he's denied it. That's him and Markelov. 4 frags between them there. Edward's feeling happy.
Even he knows.
Yeah.
2 ridiculous headshots in that round, and well, that will be the pistol now to Ukraine. They are going to even things up. Look to try and continue in fashion. We will have 3 rifles in. A fairly safe buy for Ukraine. But they are up against the Deagles and CZs, the 2 most favored pistols at the moment. We will see Simple drop down. There is going to be a man to meet him, but Simple will win the battle, but quickly gets traded out. Edward, clearly feeling confidence after his pistol performance, will be able to find another, but there's still a couple of Deags just lurking around this A site, and both of them hit shots at once, leaving the A site completely open, and some rifles to be found as well. Edward is the man to look to push back in first, with Markelov looking to try and flank around, but there is already a man close to this CT position. It's Freddie B with the rifle, but he falls as well.
Markelov, they line up for him. The MP9 prevails. It was the MP9 and Markelov against the world, seemingly there. 3 frags for him, $1,800 made. That's not disappointing. Defuse does come on in, and GODSENT, they do well there to get that bomb down. That's definitely going to come in handy looking at the future. Team Ukraine going to go ahead and take the lead for the first time in this map.
Small amount invested back into pistols. It does look like Twist is still going to be saving for that AWP over on that T side. It will be the lead now in for Ukraine. Expecting it to continue in fashion. Simple is looking for that early pick, but actually going to take a little bit of damage in return. Zeus wants to try and make himself some money, but Hampus quick on the trigger. Looking for a second, but Simple, it's not going to give him the time of day this time at least. Still looking to spot to try and see if anybody is looking to push close. T-side now with a man advantage, and they are, of course, saving for the next round buy, so any extra damage here will be welcomed. So far, all that has been lost for Ukraine is the SMG, so it isn't too much of a problem. But anything more than this, and it will force some hefty rebuys. Markelov is going to throw a deep smoke as the majority of players do gather up. Freddie B is going to try and sell himself the fake, but Bondik will execute him. And there isn't going to be any rotations here. It will just be a 2-2 split. Markelov waiting down below as they sneak forward. He still hasn't spotted them yet. They are going to be right up on him by the time they actually look to get out onto this site. The spray is missed slightly as now he will be overwhelmed, and Edward on just 16 HP is forced back. So a bomb plant is inevitable here for the T side, and they're going to look to try and steal this round away.
Bomb timer ticking down. Bondik's over on short. Picked up the man advantage now for Team Ukraine. Hampus him with the Deag, though, looks to try and complicate matters, and Twist, well, he's been quiet all game. Now he needs to 1v2. Peeks on out. Twist has done it. 2 frags for him at the end, and GODSENT, they're going to pick that round up. And when they needed him to, Twist did manage to see that round through to the end.
Yeah, and such a critical round, or critical mistake for Team Ukraine to make. They've now lost to what was a round where really GODSENT would have been happy with a couple of kills and a bomb plant. Instead, they steal a round away, bolster their economy significantly. That's going to be an extra bulk of cash for Twist that can be used in the future. Edward is going to be dead within the first 10 seconds of the round, and considering the buy, they really can't be affording to lose players so early on. Simple now the only one left with a rifle. The other three either with SMG and pistol, which not ideal at all. We'll see Disco Doppler waiting up in Palace, but no real response yet. We do have Simple waiting in the window. To be careful about, as he is looking to try and peek, but won't find anything as of yet. Zeus pushing aggressively, will be caught off by Disco, so still there's no real clue as to where GODSENT are going to be going, and because of that one singular kill, we will see the rotation towards this A site from the CT side. Slowly pushing up into B will be Hampus, and I think Short has been taken as well, so slowly but surely GODSENT should find all the information they need.
Yeah, Freddie B and Disco Doppler very, very close to discovering where these three remaining players lie. Bomb's going to go down over on B. Team Ukraine will be forced into a save here. Disco Doppler wants to try and make things difficult for them. Blink of an eye, Bondik's the only man left. He's only got the UMP as well. That is less than ideal for Team Ukraine to carry forward. I think they were hoping for a little bit more out of that round. They took the gamble to stack that A-bomb site and play for the save if the bomb went down on B. And GODSENT, well, it's looking like they could very well go flawless in the round, which they will. That is perfect for them. Money made here for the Swedes. $7,000 up on Twist. Around about 3,000 to 4,000 on the rest of the guys. So buying is not a problem into the future. Team Ukraine, they stuck everything into that previous round as well. So now they've got no money looking into this one. This should be an 11th here for GODSENT. And a chance, once again, to keep building up this money on their T side.
Yeah, the mistakes of Ukraine coming back to bite them, and they've given the Swedish side a big chance. Already Simple. It's going to be tagged. Of course, really not much invested in this round whatsoever. Stack will come in over towards this B site. Now, GODSENT so far have been pretty good at just feeling out the map and making sure that they do push into the site, which doesn't have the majority of players on it. Although the last couple of rounds, it has been A that's been stacked. So Hampus maybe led into a false sense of security. However, we can see the bomb already looking to rotate back towards that A side of the map. Doppler is, of course, the man up in Palace. Freddie B will be there to start. The rest of the players, well, best case here is that they steal away a rifle. I think fairly soon GODSENT are going to find out that there is nobody on this A site whatsoever. Disco, as said, is looking to clear out that Palace position, and yeah, this is where the penny shall drop.
Yeah, GODSENT going to go ahead and get this bomb down. That will be an 11th round for them in Team Ukraine. Not even going to want to leave the B-bomb site. We'll just look to take refuge here in the hope that maybe a lone Swede comes knocking on their door with a rifle for them to take. Freddie B going to hear all the commotion up in apartments. Yeah, GODSENT going to go rotating in. Hampus is actually going to go down. Now Twist tries to defend this fallen rifle. Freddie B rotates on in him, and Pith mopped that up. Didn't necessarily need to go for those frags.
Confidence builder. Always nice to hit some headshots. Either way, this is where the buy comes back in. Simple is not going to be on that AWP, and he is someone who, again, 8 and 17, not something you expect from this man. Waiting to see if he will be able to step up and help Ukraine take this map. Of course, it is the choice of GODSENT. We will have Overpass coming up after this as a definite, but so we head on over to a third. It's definitely up in the air. Mid-control seeming to be the main battle here, at least for the CT side, and with Hampus pushing forward, he has to be pretty careful here. There may be a little bit of a gap for Zeus to try and peek into. The majority of the T side, at least, are still over towards that B side of the map, where the CTs will be painfully unaware, at least for now. Campus may just want to try and hold off any sort of rotations. The peek can be coming in from Simple, almost trying to bait out, but it will be spotted. The barrel of the gun gives Zeus away, and now the rest of the team are going to go running into this site. Hampus finds another opener onto Simple. Edward tries his best. It will be left onto Markelov to try and defend this, but Twist executes him and leaves just Bondik remaining. The Swedish side have overwhelmed Ukraine and will almost definitely be taking a 12.
Bondik just going to look to try and hold on to this M4. GODSENT going to go 12-9 up. Ukraine once again struggling when they get into these rifle rounds. It was two nice entries there from Hampus down in mid that inspired the confidence for that B play. You can see Markelov and Edward tried their best to pull things back. It was a push through Markelov. It was pushed through the smoke, sorry, from Markelov that almost netted them. Those equalizing frags. Sadly, just not meant to be. Now with just this one M4 carried forward, question is into this next round, what approach do Team Ukraine take? Don't have enough money to buy up.
Likelihood is we will just see some pistols here. Maybe Bondik going for something a little bit more elaborate. He has been able to have these impact rounds before, but so far it has been pretty quiet overall from Ukraine. Zeus having a couple of moments. Simple is going to be making the jump into middle and allows him a pretty fast push up onto short, which may not be expected so soon. Just trying to lurk around in the smoke. Doesn't have any Kevlar, doesn't have anything. In fact, is more saving for this AWP, and he's managed to get round behind them. Two players here for Simple to execute. Gets a first, not quite the second though. Freddie B will turn around just in time to stop Simple doing any more damage. However, Zeus gets in a little bit of a battle, and as Twist tries to run away, he has to be careful because Edward is about to peek out, but decides to change his mind, and well, GODSENT now look to go back to B.
Yeah, worked for them rounds ago. They spotted Bondik out as well. They know where this man is. Markelov going to be waiting up here on the top of this self-boost. Edward has wrapped all the way around from behind, and this could be the move that helps Team Ukraine secure themselves that much more from this round. The progress that Freddie B's made, going to realize very, very quickly that he is indeed taken. They're going towards B anyway. Bondik goes down. Markelov has to try and make a stand. By time for Edward to come in on the flank. Does take one, but that's it for him. And now Edward up in apartments. Hot on their heels here, but perhaps not hot enough as Pit locks it down, spots the man. They get the information as to where he is, and Freddie B's going to find it. 13-9 to GODSENT here on Mirage.
This could be the difference maker. We get that double AWP setup which we desired. It will be Simple and Markelov. So ever deadly on train when we saw them before. And Markelov is currently top of the board for his team. In fact, joint top in the server with Disco and Pith. Was Freddie B up there as well, 18 and 14. And it is now crunch time for Team Ukraine. They lose this one, and it's more than likely they'll either be fighting for OT, but Simple will be there to start. A second for him as well. A third, in fact, for Simple, and leaves just Twist alive. The fast push has not worked out for GODSENT at all, and that AWP has already had a ludicrous amount of impact.
Yeah, now the minute 30 left in the round. Twist wants to try and save if he can. You can't imagine Team Ukraine are going to be too fond of that idea, though. Have him pinned up here in Palace. First round we see Simple on that AWP, gets himself a 3K, locks down a 10th round. Unless Twist can 1v5, gotta go ahead and B-hop round the corner. But it's the flank coming in from Bondik that looks to spell disaster. This is, you said, though, Simple's the one to get it. 4 frags for him and a 10th round on the board for Team Ukraine.
The problem now is that there is just so much money for GODSENT to buy back with. Ukraine do keep that one very clean. You can see even the amount of utility they expended was next to none, just based off the fact that it did come down to such a fast round from Simple. It does mean that they have pretty much secured themselves a buy in the next round, which could be important, as we know that this T side are going to look to try and break back. Edward almost caught. It will, in fact, be Zeus to go down. Simple is there once again. The peek through the smoke gives Edward a kill, and Simple actually burns trying to peek through the fire. A little bit too aggressive for his own good. Leaves a 3 versus 3. A peek out from Freddy B will catch off Bondik and leave Edward and Markelov alone.
Disco Doppler heard Edward dropping towards mid. Markelov goes down in CT. It all falls to Edward, and Disco Doppler has the drop on him. GODSENT in with a 14th, 14-10. Now 1 round away from map point here on Mirage. The buy can come in for Team Ukraine, but they are sticking everything they've got into this 1 round. If they lose this, it will be a force in what could be the last round on map number 1.
Markelov only going to have an MP9. The price of that double AWP setup has hurt them significantly. In fact, they'll have to drop one over to Simple, who isn't going to be able to find anything through the smoke initially, which means mid will fall to Freddy B. Once again, a much more default round from GODSENT. Just sat back, waiting for aggression. Disco, he's been pretty effective from this spot so far, and Simple's going to be looking for a gap in that smoke, but won't find anything as of yet. It's actually going to be Hampus to take the first peek out, and he wins the battle versus Bondik as well. Disco takes another. It may be looking like the beginning of the end as Twist catches Simple before he can do anything else. Edward and Markelov. Well, this may just have to be the decision to save, because they've just been obliterated over on that A site. Edward has the only rifle remaining. Boost will come over the smoke, but you can see Markelov hasn't budged. Doesn't plan on going for anything in this round, just wants to hold on to his trusty MP9. However, Freddy B doesn't seem to be willing to let that happen. Twist actually won't go down. Edward not connecting the shots, and Freddy B will end both lives. 15-10 map point for GODSENT in their choice, and the buy that's going to come up against them in this round is going to be very minuscule indeed.
Yeah, the force going to come in from Team Ukraine. It's a dig up for Edward. Simple, Zeus and Bondik all opting for the CZ. Defuse kit on Simple. 2 smokes, 1 flash, 2 nades. That's their utility spread between 4 of the 5 members on Team Ukraine. 3 players for GODSENT out in mid. They want to try and take these fights at the range. The one issue is Zeus has gone aggressive up into Palace, and it's going to net them a lot of information for free. Woo. Bit of a struggle. We'll tell you who's not struggling. Pith right now hits the headshot onto Simple. Still, Zeus has flanked round all the way through T-spawn. Bondik looks to try and join him here. Does decide now to rotate in towards his B-bomb site. It's Markelov who has to step up with the dig, but Hampus has already snuck by. Markelov gets one. That's it for him before he is taken down. Here's Zeus arriving from this flank. Twist reads it well, and Zeus, well, he migrated so far, and he then gets shut down at the border into B. Bondik and Edward left. And Hampus, he has been tagged low, but it has to be a stellar retake here. Already a massive disadvantage, no utility to get them back to the site. Pith rains down death. It's Edward left, 12 HP. And map number 1, Tom, is going to be going the way of GODSENT.
Yeah, the deserved victory in the end. I think after that sort of break back where they managed to steal around away with the sort of CZs and Deagles, from then onwards on the T side, it just looked dominant. They built themselves up a decent amount of cash, and I think any player who sort of didn't step up in the first half definitely had that impact in the second. It was actually Twist to win them that sort of the clutch with that M4 that he managed to scavenge. We saw Freddie B having a magnificent sort of run around, just hitting headshots all over the shop, and all in all, it didn't really look like there was a weak member on that GODSENT roster.
No, not one bit. I mean, even then, the one man that we were kind of talking about was Twist, and towards the end, he definitely stepped up. And then, you know, you kind of look over at Team Ukraine, felt like we didn't really get to see much from them. I felt the T side was very, very slow, but it never really felt like they kind of built up any momentum, not in terms of how the rounds have played out, just in terms of actually chaining anything substantial together.
Well, yeah, we saw sort of in the first half the long streak that came out from GODSENT without really too much coming about it. I think the one round that they managed to then steal was based off actually Zeus having to get just 3 entry kills on the site. I think Simple did have a very quiet game. Like, he had sort of that one round where he just went absolutely nuts and just like released all of that energy and then went, okay, now I'm going to go back to just being a mere mortal again. And it was that they were missing. I feel like that sort of explosive play, and on something like Overpass, I definitely feel like they'll need him to do something like that again.
Yeah, that's very true. You just mentioned it. Overpass will be the next map.